Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. Today's video is another update on the 1966 Mustang known as Betsy. Now Don has shared other videos with me and with you as well, and in that process he's told us about the history of his car, what his plans are for the car, what he's done to it over the years, and he shared some really insightful information. The reason I like to share videos like this is not only does it inspire me, because now I'm seeing people use the information that I've given them and applying it to what their project is. But it also may give you some insight as to how you can do some things at your own home shop. Don is continuing the teardown of Betsy, and he has some things that he found that he had to address. So let's take a look at Don's continued project.
Well, hello there. Welcome to another episode of the ever-continuing saga of Betsy. This one is number 5, and it is discovery. After disassembly, I discovered some problems which caused me to do more disassembly, which then showed me more trouble. So the project has grown. I've ordered my sheet metal. In the meantime, I've got these other issues that I've discovered that I have to take care of. So thanks for joining me. I'll do some time lapse of the processes that were involved. So as you can see behind me here, it is disassembled. As I went around the car, I discovered that while things looked great in other areas of the car, as I said before, as I went to clean out some of the sealer, I had one spot in the trunk where there was this little spot of rust, and I thought, well, I better take care of that. So as I started scraping around there, it turns out that even though the sealer looks perfect and the paint on top of the sealer looks perfect, underneath that sealer was rust. Rust in the between the wheel well and the floor pan. So that means strip it all out. Once I started taking sealer out, I started finding more rust. Even though from the look of it on the outside it looked great, underneath all of that it was not so great. So, I mean, the rust isn't critical, but it's there, it's gotten started, and it needs to stop. Okay, so enjoy the time lapse of more disassembly. I'll include some other little goodies, and anyway, that's the plan. Who knows how the plans are going to turn out? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the other end when the video's done. Well, hello there. Welcome to another day of discovery. Today I am going to remove the windshield and stuff in preparation of taking the cowl assembly apart. What I bought was one of these generic, what is this, GA243 molding removers, but you'll notice I ground off one side. And that is because when you're getting in there and trying to get those clips to get loose, it's pretty easy to have the opposite point put dents in the molding, which not good. I will begin the process. Well, the moldings came off really easy. The clips, even though they're 30 years old, were not rusty at all, and they just popped right loose. I'm not a fan of trying to get the window out and salvage the gasket. I just cut the gasket and so that the window just pops right out. Putting them back in, you really need a new gasket. Nice limber, brand new one. Makes it go in a lot easier. Cleanup was fairly easy. That's just paint thinner in a little squirt bottle, and I'm just going along cleaning out a butyl product that I use to seal the window. When I use this kind of sealer, that seal was in 35 years and it didn't leak, and you can tell by looking just how clean. There's not a speck of rust on anything. Not even the clips got rusty. Now I'm taking the connectors off between the apron and the cowl. Mystery solved.
One of the problems I had with this car was that it only leaked. It would drip on my left foot, but only when I was driving, not when it was parked. So it was hard for me to think of the hats being bad because they would leak all the time whenever it was raining. Although I have discovered a rusty spot on the hat, so I'm going to take the cowl off anyway and replace it. Here's my leak. So once those seals failed on the little apron skirt here, then water would come up and go underneath this, go through that, go right straight down through the middle of the hat and drip on my foot. So that's the real water leak. That's the one that took out the floors in the car. Hey, at least I found it. There's no more mystery as to where the water was coming from and how. And the weird thing is, had I just taken the fenders off and decided I wanted to replace those skirts and got them sealed up to the fender and everything so water couldn't get through there, then the leak would go away. Got the connector off on the other side, and it had a bad weld right here, bad weld right there that had rusted and pulled out. But besides that, it had a hole just like the one on the other side. It's been leaking water into the heater. Great. So I've had leaks in this car ever since I've owned it, and I wasn't aware, at least had that not happened, I probably still would have good floorboards. That's a weird thing to think about. Okay. I guess I got to keep going. Okay, so now it's the process of drilling out so many spot welds. I disappear every now and then, and that's me working on getting the drill bit ground in a way that worked really good for the spot welds. And I finally arrived at it. It worked pretty well. You also notice there's an old dull file of mine that I ground to make a spot weld splitter, nice and thin, good hard tool steel. And that worked really good too. Just tap it along. I kept it sharp so that it would just shear off what little bit of weld was left after I drilled it. So there wasn't a lot of metal damage or anything. I mean, other than drilling a great big hole. Okay, paused for a second to get the stereo speakers out because of all the metal filings. I didn't want them sticking and ruining the speakers. It all worked, and it all worked out in the end. It came out, and that's such a good feeling when you're prying on the very last spot weld and blink, the panel comes loose. Yeah, big moment. It's out. Not too bad. There are some rust. Oh gosh, it's just on the hairy edge of being too rusty. Probably would have lasted another, 5 or 8 years, 10 years tops anyway. There's, from those seams, there's a little bit of rust here, and there's rust here. I have been doing a little cleaning up here and there to see where we're at, and over here, this is what this hat looks like after I clean it up. It had a little bit of surface rust on it, but really, I mean, that's it. I don't even know as I need to replace this cowl. Little spots of surface rust here and there, like right there, where that one seam leak was right there, it ate away about a little 1/4 inch strip of metal here, so I can just patch that in. And and then just prep it, seal it, paint it, and it'll last another 50 years.
Oh, just hold on a darn minute, Don. Too bad it didn't work out that way. So here's another update. Indeed, I removed the lower cowl. There was a couple of pinholes, so it had to go. Over on the passenger side, when I got to cleaning it up, it just didn't work out, so I decided I was going to replace it. I could have made it work, but then I didn't know what the lifespan would be, and it's going to be a heck of a lot longer with a new piece in there. So today I've been working on the upper cowl, getting all the rust out from underneath, treating it with OSPO. Here you can really get a good look at the original color. Medium sage. And I'm going to do the heater core because that's a consumable item. Good for 10 years, 15 tops. So I'm going to put a new one of those in while it's all naked like this. I am reinforcing this area of the cowl because of the torque from the shock towers moving like this. So what I'm going to do, the deal is this connector here has 11 spot welds connecting the connector to the apron, and it's got 2 spot welds and a tack right here. At least on the 66 it's got a tack holding it to the cowl. So I decided that the shock towers have been moving and working those spot welds like this. This is just a little engineering project to increase the strength of this, and it's designed in such a way with curves so that it was easy to shape, and slices so that I could get it made, but also so that it increases the strength, makes it resilient and strong, but it's not creating hard points that will just tear out later because all the stress is now focused in one area. I wanted to spread the stress out over a larger area. But what I'm doing here is I sort of rough shaped out my, here's the one from the other side. This is the reinforcement. And so I clamp it into place, and then I use a rod that I've got a sort of an oval end on, and I can get in here then and peen the metal to shape. And because it's held on both sides, it'll just curve it perfectly to the existing panel. I'm going to drill the holes through the cowl, through the connector, but not through this, so that I can weld up from the bottom and connect all 3 pieces of metal together with extra spot welds and tack welds. So instead of 2 in a tack, I'm going to have 3 and 2 tack welds just in this area right here. And I'm hoping that if I get this welded up good, that it won't pull loose. So this is something that I thought probably was happening maybe before I put the export brace on, or it continued after. I mean, it really says something about how much movement there is in the front end of these cars when they are in stock configuration. When I see a problem like this, I can fix it, but to me, this indicates a weakness. And weakness I have to improve. This has been my modus operandi for my whole adult career. When you see a problem, not only fix the problem, but find out why it failed and improve the conditions so that it doesn't fail the same way, or at least as fast as it did before. So everything you have to go in and fix, make it better than it was. I feel the same way about the world. I feel the same way about families and people. Leave it better than it was when you arrived. Okay, I'm going to try this. So I will coat this area in weld through, and I will coat the back side of this and weld through, and then I'll weld it in place, and then the whole thing will be, of course, coated, primed and coated. I'll coat this with weld through, of course, to stop it from rusting, and then I can weld it to the car. But inside here I'll be just priming it and painting it so it'll have a really good coat. And you can see inside here the coat that is on here is the dip that they do at the factory. So it's still hanging out. The dip was still hanging out pretty good, except where the rust had eaten it away. The good news is that I'm making progress, and it's not too bad. I can deal with it. The bad news is my parts have been back ordered till the end of May. So no floor pan, no firewall extensions. I'm not going to get any sheet metal for the car until the end of May. And that's pretty much the best I can do. Well, hello there. This will wrap up this video. Some of my parts started coming in. I got my a few gaskets, my belt line moldings. No sheet metal, of course. I ordered some supplies from Barry, as you saw previously. I'm not a fan of supporting Jeff Bezos, but I will certainly support Barry. Thanks for watching. There'll be another part to this. There's still the whole other half of the car of discovery and what I'm doing to mitigate the problems that I've found. So stay tuned, and I'll see you later.
So as I said, Don is getting into this project. He is really digging in and finding all the stuff wrong with it. Now what I like about Don is not only is he willing to get dirty and get in there and tear this thing apart, but he also has some great ideas. Again, these are some things that I may not have considered. One of which was the little tool for taking the clips off of the window trim. I may not or have not considered the idea of the points on either side, and one could cause problems as you're pulling it apart, but it makes perfect sense. So rounding one corner off, great idea. Again, I hadn't thought of that. The other idea, reinforcing the inside of the upper cowl. You know, in reality, like he said, there's only two little welds that hold that together. And adding that internal structural piece, it may benefit him because he drag races his car. So it gets a lot more torque and pressure in those areas than, say, a normal car has. Now, he will point out, or he did point out, that he started digging in and decided to open up that cowl and find out what's going on. And to me, the cowl looked really good. But I understand where he's coming from in finding some pinholes. He just says, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to fix it, replace it, and make it better. I understand that. But I'm glad he's digging in. I'm glad he's going through the process and taking us along for the journey as well. So thank you, Don, for sharing this video with us. And I hope to share more videos like this in the future. If you're interested in participating in a Viewers Project video, all you need to do is send me an email to joedaddysgarage@gmail.com and let me know what you're working on and what you want to do. We can go back and forth on and share information, and then maybe feature your car as well. So let me know. If you're interested, fine. If not, that's okay too. But I'm glad you were here to watch. That'll be the end of this video. But until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.